2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
Early contests build momentum for 2024 contenders seeking the White House. C-SPAN offers unfiltered coverage of events leading into early primaries and caucuses. Get access to speeches and results with the free app, C-SPAN Now, or watch live on the C-SPAN networks.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the C3 Friday Free For All. I am your host, Cody Lashing, co-host of the C3 Panthers Podcast, joined by my Friday Free For All faithful, man. I'm going to introduce these guys here in a second. But if you didn't know, this is the show for Panther fans by Panther fans, man. Have you ever wondered what it's like to be a podcaster and talk about your favorite football team, the Carolina Panthers? Well, I'll be damned if this isn't the show for you, man. Hit the link. It's in the description box of the YouTube video and the Facebook video. I'm going to drop the link in the chat box literally as we speak. And then you can come in and join the Streamyard and join this discussion. Without further ado, let me introduce my cohorts, man. They've been here, I feel like, for every Friday Free For All we have done. Let me jump right in and introduce the boys. My man, Nick Montero, back for another Friday show. What's up, Nick?
What up, man? You know I wouldn't miss this. Coming here, hanging out with you, hanging out with all my compadres here on the panel. You know, it's always a good time. We always talk about that Panthers football, and we crack a couple of jokes along the way.
Hey, man, consider this your own little stand-up hall, man. This is your chance to showcase. But let's go to Kenneth, Panther Pickle, joining us again. What's up, man?
Hey, man, what's y'all happening? We're doing good over down here in Bristol, Tennessee.
Right.
They're doing something down there at the track, so it's kind of crowded and racers everywhere. But that's kind of such as life. I just want to talk football though. So I used to
live by Charlotte Motor Speedway, and it was pretty cool. Whenever the races would come to town, you'd be able to hear them even at nighttime, just going to town. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Now, next, let's go to my man, Drew, AJ Lindsay 1216. My man, what's going on, brother?
Not much, fellas. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Happy to have you back. And listen, man, I'll go ahead and tell everybody right now, I hope y'all have something y'all want to talk about, man. This has been a relatively slow news cycle. Not really a ton to even talk about, man. So I hope y'all have brought that fire for the free-for-all today. Next, let's go to my man, Jay Stubbs, going back and forth with Hype Man Lucci on Twitter, man. What's going on, bro?
Nothing much, man. Just, like I said, I don't know, man. I'm not trying to hate on nobody or throw shade, but some people in this fan base needs to just realize that don't believe whatever Panthers.com says. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think we can get into that a little bit later, and that'll be a good discussion too. Next up, this man is a fan of the best college football team and all the NCAA, baby. This man is a Clemson Tiger fan. KB, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, it's good to be on. And like it says in the title of this video, Sam Darnold should be our quarterback for 2022.
Ooh, all right, man. Hey, it should make for a good discussion. It always does. And this next gentleman is quite simply the future of Panther fandom. He is a fan favorite already from the cat calls. You know him, you love him. He's back for another round. It's Connor. Connor, what's up, bro?
Yo, what's up, Cody? What's up, everybody?
What's up, dude?
What up,
Have you
man?
back. This should be another good show. Yeah, man. Hit that growl. All right, man.
I can't do it.
Yeah, Joey the Blind Panther. He'll have to give you some lessons.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what I was
Yeah, yeah, he's a professional at that, man. But hey, if you haven't done so already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit that notification bell for every single time we go live. So I named this, as KB alluded to, is quarterback Sam Darnold's job to lose. Now we're going to open up the conversation here. I'm going to let you guys weigh in on this topic, whether that is what we should do, whether that isn't what we should do. And then, wherever the conversation goes, we'll just take it from there. But how about let's do this. Let's go to KB. KB came off the top rope saying that this is what we should do. Go on that, man. I mean, has your opinion changed? Do you just think this is inevitable? Or do the Panthers believe that Sam Darnold can actually be a better quarterback than he showed last year?
Well, I think it's not so much a choice as much as it's a lack of options. This is not a good quarterback class. Willis, Pickett, Ritter, these guys would be second and third round picks in almost any other draft. There's a lot of question marks to their game, and there's always people talk about Willis's ceiling. There's always a ceiling to a quarterback. This is just not a good quarterback draft. You're really reaching at number 6 when you don't have any middle round picks to also get. That when you pick at 6, your quarterback, not only are you saying that quarterback is worthy of the number 6 pick, but you're also saying he's more worthy than a second and a third rounder or whatever other compensation you could get. I mean, you're claiming a lot because we still got holes to fill on the D line, linebacker, depth at safety, guard. Where despite what happens with Brady Christensen, you still got a hole at guard. If you think he's your left tackle, you still have a hole at guard. If you draft a left tackle, you still have a hole at guard. So this is a draft where you really can't miss. We really got to hit on that, either that 6th pick or trade down. And I'm on the trade down train. I would rather stick with Sam Darnold as QB. All right, bring some competition in. I'm fine with a Bailey Zappi or something, or maybe even a Ritter. Maybe we get Desmond Ritter in the 2nd or 3rd round. That would be awesome. But I'm not a fan of going out to draft a guy at 6. I'd rather trade down and bring in some competition for Sam because, again, like we said last week on last week's Friday Free For All, which was awesome, I think Sam and Matt Rule are tied together this season, and if the one fails, they both fail, and they're both going to be gone next season. So,
okay. Do you all think that Sam, or that? Let me put it to you this way: do you think if Matt Rule had his choice, that he would go with Sam Darnold? Because as far as we know, Matt Rule still has the final say so on all football and personnel decisions. So, I mean, knowing what you saw from Sam last year, if you're Matt Rule, do you really want Sam, or are you hoping that the Panthers pull off a trade for, I don't know, maybe a Jimmy Garoppolo? Let's go to Drew. Drew, what do you think about this, man?
Matt Rule, if you gave him truth serum, he will tell you he does not want Sam Darnold as his quarterback because his job is on the line this season. And there is no way in the world, if he's putting his job on the line, if he had to be truthful, he would go with Sam Darnold as his quarterback. Sam Darnold has proved one thing and one thing only since he's been drafted, that his game is trash. Everybody tried to get, and I'm included in that, tried to give him the benefit of the doubt when he got here. Oh, it was Adam Gase. The Jets didn't have any weapons. He had different coaches. He never got settled in a system. No, Sam Darnold cannot process defenses between his ears. That's his issue. He has an arm. He can move. He just can't process the game. And I don't care what you do between now and the season. There is nothing Ben McAdoo or Matt Rule are going to be able to do to get Sam Darnold to process the game between his ears to make him a competent quarterback. That's plain and simple.
Yeah, go ahead, Ken.
I kind of agree. I believe this goes all the way back to where Teddy Bridgewater, to be frank, because I believe how they handle that situation is, if you read enough and study enough on this situation, you'll find that they sold Teddy Bridgewater for whatever reason, and I'm not going to go all that why they didn't like him, but they wanted him gone. Well, when they were at the Senior Bowl, I think it was, or the Combine, they had already had negotiations with some team with the Lions. It was pretty much a done deal that hadn't got announced yet, and that he was coming here. They already put in for the paperwork. They already had put in for the medical on him. It was pretty much a done deal to get Matthew Stafford here, in Carolina. Then, out of the blue, Matthew Stafford said, no, I don't want to do that. Well, they already put Teddy Bridgewater up on the block, so it was already they didn't cross Teddy Bridgewater out on that. I know people gave Baker Mayfield down the road, but Teddy just was a nice guy. He didn't say anything publicly, but he was done with this organization too over that situation. So
did you think that they kind of forced their own hand, and getting rid of Teddy Bridgewater so fast? It made it where, dude, if they don't. If they didn't execute that trade for Matt Stafford, they were up a creek, and that kind of left them with Sam Darnold.
And that's what I'm saying. And I think last year they got to a point there was nobody left other than Sam Darnold or the draft, and they really didn't think any of the quarterbacks they wanted would fall to them. So they went all in on and they had an opportunity to get Sam. They liked Sam, and it was like, okay, let's get him while we know we can get him, because if we wait, we'll lose out on Sam and everybody in the draft. So
and by the way, Brad Dugan put this up. He asked if we read the piece from Joe Person in The Athletic, where he said our own players aren't sold on Sam, and who can actually blame them? But this is the piece. He's talking about Sam Darnold here. He says he's a strong arm, sneaky athleticism, and is a good dude, but he struggles going through his reads, which is what was just said, which affects timing and leads to ill-advised throws. Exactly what Drew just said. Put him behind an improved line and give him Christian McCaffrey for 17 games, and Darnold will look a lot more competent. As far as what players think, McCaffrey and Darnold are friends, and McCaffrey has had nice things to say about him. Other players aren't as sold on Darnold as the answer, but the only options that really count are those of Rule, Fitterer, and Tepper, and they've given every indication that they're ready for an upgrade. Now, with that in mind, and I'll pose this to Nick. Let's go to Nick here. I kind of think that now, at this point in time, I think it's probably likely that not only are the Panthers, not only do they consider Sam, as a burden that they have no choice but to accept for a year, but they might even be looking at it as, well, let Sam start, finally give him the benefit of the doubt that we improve the offensive line. Maybe you still draft a quarterback and let Sam start the season and roll with Sam to start. What do you think about that, Nick?
Well, there's a couple of things I want to comment on. First things first, as far as who Matt Rule wants as a quarterback, he wants somebody with Sam Darnold's personality, but with the skills of Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. Okay, that's what he wants. Okay, he wants somebody who he can be the man of. He wants somebody that's going to come in, do as they're told, be quiet, sit down, not make a peep, and not lead the team. That is why he was okay with Teddy. That is why he was okay with Sam. That is why he was not okay with Cam, because that is not who Cam is. So that's my opinion on that aspect. As far as as far as whether or not, I don't think that Sam has what it takes to make this team what it should be. Okay.
Right.
I think that there are better options out there, but as far as options that are realistically obtainable for the long-term success, I think we're at a point now where we're either drafting a quarterback, which I forget who said it, but they aren't the caliber of quarterbacks that have been in previous years' drafts.
Yeah.
At least going into it. Okay.
Right.
There's the potential that Malik Willis can pull a Josh Allen and become a very good quarterback that you can rely on. But the likelihood of that happening, I don't think that this coaching staff has the resources to make that happen.
Yeah.
So
Connor, let's go to you, man. What are you thinking about that? Like, so I hear what Nick says too. I mean, I think we all kind of agree with that. But do you think that Sam Darnold, even if you don't believe in him long term, could Sam be just good enough for right now to kind of lessen the load of a rookie quarterback if we did draft one? Connor, we'll go to you.
I got two things right here. Okay, so first of all, responding to what Nick said about Sam maybe mentoring a rookie, Sam Darnold is if Sam Darnold did that, then I think he's more like Jimmy G than Jimmy G is like Jimmy G. Okay? I think that he could be a good mentor. I mean, hell, he's been through New York. I mean, he's got a good personality. And also through what Nick said, the guy that Matt Rule wants, the guy that has the personality of Sam Darnold, the guy that can listen, the guy that is ready, that guy's Kenny Pickett, whether you like it or not. And then
we got a Pickett fan in here.
And then, second of all, I do not give a damn what anybody says. This draft class is not as bad as people say it is. I can see maybe 2 or 3 of these quarterbacks turn out to be top 10 quarterbacks in the future. And the 3 guys that I look at, that Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, and Matt Corral. Corral is, I feel like he's very underrated. I mean, Matt Corral, he can do some stuff. I mean, the only concern is how much RPO he ran. But, I mean, he's got a good arm. I mean, he's got a good personality. I mean, I'm just not as down on this draft class as a lot of other people are.
And you know what, Connor? I don't think that you're wrong in saying that. I feel like the past 2 draft cycles in a row, and we've heard about these quarterbacks that were not ready to play football. And then look what happens, man. You believe in them.
Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert. It's the same thing with Josh Allen. This was a similar narrative around even Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, man. But let me ask you this. You mentioned Kenny Pickett. Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. What about Kenny Pickett says to you that's the guy that the Panthers need to draft? Like, what is it about his game that you think is going to make him the guy for the job?
Well, it's just that he is the most balanced quarterback in this draft. I mean, it's as simple as that. He's NFL ready. He's a balanced quarterback. I mean, he doesn't have the best arm. He's got a decent arm. I feel like he also showed off his arm a bit more as pro day. And
he did.
I also feel like sure, he doesn't have the ceiling. I will admit that. That Malik Willis has a much higher ceiling, and a guy like Desmond Ridder and Malik Willis have much higher ceilings. But the guy is 24. The guy is 24 years old. He's NFL ready. I mean, he's been in college for probably 4 years now. I mean, the guy is ready, and I like him over. I would not say that I like him over the potential of Willis, but what may be the outcome of Willis, I like him more. To me, Kenny Pickett reminds me of Justin Herbert. He didn't have all the hype surrounding him. It's not like he had the hype of Joe Burrow or Trevor Lawrence it's not like he had the hype of any of those guys.
Yeah, but, I hear what you're saying. I think you're saying that he's just a well-rounded player and he checks more boxes than any other guy in this class. It's got the arm, it's got the mobility. You know, he comes from a pro style system. He does all these different things. And like I'm saying, I think that the Panthers brass might agree with that too, man. Hey, real quick, let me add my man. It's been a while since we had him on here. G baby, G, what's going on, bro?
Yeah, man, what's good with you boys, man?
What's good, man? Chilling, man. Let me ask you about this quarterback situation, bro. I know. Look, we know you're not a fan of Sam. Neither am I, man. I don't think anyone is, even the Panthers. But is this his job next year? And do you think the Panthers might just say, all right, let's start Sam for a year and then draft another quarterback and let him be the backup until until he's ready to go play? What do you think, man?
Do you want me to talk with my heart?
Yeah. We got some younger ears on here today, so be careful. I got you, though, man. Let me know, man. Speak. Let me know, man.
Honestly, truthfully, I'm very hurt with how this team has been put together these past 3-4 years, man.
Ever since
it's bad. It's very bad. But as far as the QB situation, man,
yeah,
I think Sam's gonna be the QB1, man. And it's unfortunate, man, and it's just it confuses me, bro. It confuses me because it's just like he's dog shit.
Yeah,
he's complete dog shit.
Do you think that they feel like they have to now? Like, are they just stuck with him?
Honestly, I don't even think these guys can run a football organization. I don't even think these guys know how to run a football organization because we're in such a bad situation, you guys.
Yeah.
Like, think about how far we came from 2015 to 2022. Like, how are we in this bad of a situation? Like, how did it get this bad?
Hold on 2 seconds, G-Baby, because I agree with you as far as how we ended last season. Okay, we ended last season pretty bad. Okay, but I feel like we've made a lot of moves in this offseason that have bettered the team, and I feel like Scott Fitter especially has learned from his mistakes of last season for the most part. He's still done some things that I question him on, but when you compare this offseason to last, we don't even have the draft yet, and our team looks a lot fuller than it did last year with more quality players, other than quarterback.
This is the thing. I disagree. I don't like the offensive linemen we took. They're run blockers. We don't need run blockers. We need pass protection, man. These guys are not pass protection, bro.
But we don't have anyone that could pass the ball.
Right.
Like,
we do. We do, though. We have a former MVP named Cam Newton, man. And it blows me away. It blows me away that we shit on this man for Jimmy G.
We're
talking about Jimmy G.
Not me. Definitely
Jimmy
not
G. You guys, Jimmy G's not on Cam Newton's level.
No.
Not nowhere even close.
49ers and Cam Newton's unemployed. Neither one of them.
Cam Newton's not.
But G-Baby, let me ask you this. I used to think Cam would want to come here. Now, so the rumors were that when the Panthers were going to trade for Deshaun, Cam would have been cool coming back as a backup.
Of course.
But yeah, okay, so my thing is this. Like, if you're Cam and now they don't have that situation, like, maybe Cam doesn't view the Panthers like a contender, like, maybe some other team might be. So does Cam even want to come back here?
I don't see why he wouldn't want to. Where else is he going to go?
Oh, I think Scott Fitter learned.
He's been offered several jobs. If he wants to go somewhere else, he can go somewhere else.
This is from being a Cam Newton fan since 2010. The moxie he has, I don't see him even thinking Sam Darnold's on his level. If I'm Cam Newton and I'm looking at Sam Darnold, I'm like, bro, I'm not worried about no Sam Darnold taking my spot.
But you notice how Matt Rule last season played Sam Darnold in front of Cam Newton, And that's my point. Why would Cam Newton want to come back to be disrespected by Matt Rule, putting Sam Darnold or potentially even a rookie quarterback in front of him? You know what I mean? Like Cam might not be down. He might not be down for that again.
And another thing, man, is it's the way Matt Rule treats white QBs compared to black QBs, man. It's day and night, bro. I don't give a damn what it is. I see it with my own eyes, man.
There's no.
I see it with my own eyes, man.
Hold the phone, man. Hold the phone, man, because there's no evidence of racism.
I will say one thing though. PJ Walker might be his favorite quarterback ever, though, bro.
Yeah.
PJ Walker. But hold on, though, G baby. The other someone put out an article. I forget who it was, and he was saying that PJ Walker might not have a job anywhere else in the NFL if it wasn't for Matt Rule.
He wouldn't.
That's because he played at Temple, right? PJ Walker played at Temple, right?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Yep. Like this dude is always here to play favorites. Yeah. What I'll say is this though. I don't think any of us think that no matter who the quarterback is, that Matt Rule is going to be able to make the right decision. That's why I believe. That's why I believe, and then I'm going to pass it to someone else here. I believe that David Tepper has given more of the power to Scott Fitterer than Matt Rule. I can't prove this, but I think Fitterer has the reins of this organization more than Matt Rule does now. At least I hope so. But let's go to
Dan Morgan. Let's not forget him.
Yeah, Drew. Let me ask you this, man. Do you think that Fitterer is more in control now than he was before, or is this still Matt Rule just running thing as stipulated by his contract?
Just because of some of the signings that were made this offseason, I think Fitterer has more control because Matt Rule was more than happy on the first day of free agency last year to sign Pat Elflein and Cam Irving. Fitterer was just like
horrible.
Yeah. Fitterer went out and got proven commodities in the guard from the Rams, who we saw in the Super Bowl, and I've watched some film on him, and the guy moves people.
That dude's a 76 overall on Madden.
And don't include Madden.
It's better than an overall.
No, he's a 76 on Madden.
And Cam Newton's a
63.
Cam Newton's a 63 on Madden, so that means
I'm just saying.
Wait. Let Drew finish his content, and then we'll move on. Go ahead, Drew.
And Boseman, I would have liked to have seen him sign a longer contract, but I understand why both sides did what they did. If they don't put that man at center, we know Matt Rule is the issue. Because that man is a much better center than he is a guard. I mean, I've seen plays of him hiking the ball to Lamar Jackson out of the shotgun and pulling from center. Yeah. And I mean, mowing guys over. So them to talk about, well, they'll put Pat Elflein as center and Boseman. No, you put the guys in the positions for them to succeed at the highest level. That was the issue that Matt Rule ran into last year. Everybody on this podcast was screaming at the top of their lungs last year, put Brady Christian at left tackle. That's where he's always played. That's the position he knows. Put the man in a place to succeed. And Matt Rule, for the life of him, swears up and down this man is a guard, and nobody in their mom have ever seen Brady Christian play left guard or right guard because he's never done it.
Yeah.
Hey, do you know why Matt Rule's still here?
Hold on, G. One more thing. Before we go forward, Grim Reaper with the $5 says, I love Cam, but I am torn whether he needs to come back or not. Keep pounding. I hear you, Grim. Like, look, I'm a Cam Newton super fan too, man. Like, listen, I hear what G Baby's saying too. I hear what a lot of Panther fans are saying. Like, give Cam Newton an off season. Give him some time to get in rhythm with the receivers. Give him some better protection. And, I would take Cam Newton over, Jimmy Garoppolo any day of the week, man. I mean, my preferred thing that I would like to do, I've said this on our show, I say bring Cam Newton back for one more year and then draft a guy. Then you have Cam Newton, you have Sam Darnold, and you have the guy that hopefully you're going to be able to build your franchise around going forward in the future. But then at the same time, man, on the other hand, I'm also in that spot where I'm tired of getting my hopes up getting my emotions real high for Cam Newton to come back, and then this team fails him, and then he starts to play bad, and then the wheels fall off, man. It's like I would rather spare us from that kind of humiliation again. You know what I mean?
Hey, I have us winning 2 games this upcoming season, and those 2 games are against Atlanta.
I wouldn't be
Have you
surprised
guys
if you're
seen our
right, man.
schedule? Have you guys seen our schedule?
I've heard this for.
Oh my God!
20-some years. No offense. I've heard this. Oh, it's easy to look at the schedule now and say, "Oh, we're going to suck." The Bengals said that last year. Go back and look at it. Bengals fans said that all over the last year. They went to the Super Bowl. It's about when the bell rings and they step on that field. That's what it's about. That's about who wins it bad enough.
Go look at that schedule and you tell me we're going to have more than 5 wins. It's not going to happen.
I mean, it depends on.
Let me ask you something.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Ken.
Let me ask you something. Are you 125,000% going to tell me that the opponents we face aren't going to have injuries? They're not going to have major injuries or major issues to their team. Nobody's going to get hurt. No quarterback's going to get hurt and be out for the year. No star offensive lineman's going to go out for the year. That's never going to happen to any team in the NFL.
Yeah, but we can't count on that, man.
Well,
we want to win regardless.
You can't count against it either.
I hear the point. I hear the point that Kenneth is making, though. Is that in 2015, in that preseason, no one thought the Panthers were about to go 15-1. Especially after Kelvin Benjamin went down with the injury.
Yes.
Now, we all know Kelvin Benjamin. We all know that Kelvin Benjamin was trash, but we thought that was our number 1 wide receiver going down. That forced Cam to spread the ball around. You know, it's like you really never know. And as far as our free agent signing class is concerned, you know, look, Tony has a good mindset about it. From our Tuesday show, the Professor, man, he's been saying, I'm not going to give Fitterer his kudos on this draft class until I see him in action. And that's a good mindset to have because none of the Panthers have proven anything in recent years. But when you look at these guys on paper, I have no doubt that this offensive line is much improved from last year. I like the Austin Corbett and Bozeman signing better than I did Cam Irving and Pat Elflein the year before. So, you know, I think this team has the offensive weapons. It has the upgraded offensive line. The defense is the same from last year. We're going to be able to add some players. The only real defensive piece that we have to replace is Hassan Reddick. And outside of that, our team is pretty much the same. It would be pretty incredible if this Panthers team was even worse than we were last year.
But Cody, you got to look at one thing, and that is this team on paper, as you said, is pretty much the same team other than Hassan Reddick. But we, against that schedule, will always game we play other than the Atlanta game possibly because we are deficient at quarterback, the number 1 position on the field. And until we do something about that, we will always be behind the 8 ball. I don't care if we had the 85 Bears defense, the Ravens defenses of the 2000s. Until we get that quarterback position fixed, we're always going to be behind the 8 ball. Because we can never know from week to week if we're going to score 3 points or whether we're going to go out and put up 25 points. The defense has to keep everybody under 11 points a game for us to even think we have a shot.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Drew, is there anything that the Panthers can do to fix that position this year? Like, I'm
on the Kenneth said it a couple of weeks ago. I'd re-sign Cam, draft Malik Willis, and I'd cut Sam Darnold. I cut him. You already know Sam. This is Sam Darnold's last year in Carolina. We already know it. It's done. What is the point of having him on the roster?
Thank you. He's a cancer. He's a cancer to the team, bro.
So whether he's on the roster or whether he's off the roster, you're going to pay him $18 million.
Thank you.
There's no point in wasting reps, time, and effort on Sam Darnold. You bring in Cam Newton, you have him start, you have Malik Willis on the bench, you can put PJ Walker on the practice squad. Nobody's gonna pick him up.
Yeah.
I would even go after an offensive lineman in the draft, man. Build the goddamn wall. Like, why do we have to talk about building a wall every year?
Cam Newton in if you draft Malik Willis, you got to have a rookie quarterback in waiting because they're not going to give Cam more than a 2-year contract. At this point, I think they give him a 1-year deal, but you're not getting any more than 2, and you can't bank on getting a quarterback in next year's draft without giving up future capital. And that's the last thing we want to do is give up future capital. If you put a decent offensive line in front of Cam Newton and he's already got weapons on the field, Cam Newton himself is a weapon. We saw him in the Washington game.
Preach that
Newton,
shit.
If his weapons aren't open, he'll take off.
Yeah.
So Cody.
Cody, get him out there with those weapons and you spread the field in McAdoo's offense, this Panthers team could possibly be dangerous.
Yes. And dude, I've been saying this.
Thank you.
Go ahead, dude.
No shot.
Yes, hey, we have to fix that quarterback position, and like the Panthers, we're gonna have to choose either or. Either you're going quarterback at number 6, or you're trusting Sam Darnold or whoever you sign in free agency to be the quarterback. I think you have to draft a quarterback at this juncture. But Jay Stubbs, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say like Cam played like 4 games. Like the dude had more touchdowns than Sam. Like.
Thank you,
bro. Yeah. Like, he really did, man. Like I know he threw picks, but like,
oh my god,
Cam's threw more picks than he did.
But I'm saying, like, I know Cam's gonna throw picks, but like that dude was like, he came in hot and like
hot.
The O line was so bad, like it was really bad last year. And my biggest thing too is Cody asked that question earlier about Sam Darnold and should we keep him? Cody, pull that picture up of Matt Rule at the owners meeting. That is what Sam Darnold is doing to Matt Rule, bro. Like that dude is stressed the F out.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you have a cuck for a quarterback.
He put all his chips into Sam Darnold. Now look at him. He is depressed. His pants is all wrinkled. Like that dude is stressed. He eat every second. He just stress eating. It's like he is so. I feel bad for him, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Like just.
And you know what? Now that we're on, I wanted to ask y'all this. What did y'all make of? I want to go to Nick first on this. What did y'all make of Matt Rule apparently at the owners meeting, dancing, just cutting the rug, having a good old time? I'm like, dude, look. Tony got mad at me on the Tuesday show, but I was like, dude, why are you dancing? Like, what are you dancing for?
What do you have to dance about?
There's nothing to dance about.
Cody, because he knows his job is secure, bro. Do you remember what David Tepper said? Do you remember what David Tepper said? He said, I hired a man that looked like me, that smelled like me, all the above. You don't say that to another man unless you have some type of relationship with them, man.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that to about another man unless I have some type of relationship. So that lets me know they were already like this before Matt Rule was already hired. How do you let Matt Rule go to New York to see if he can get a job there and let him come back to the cookie?
Yeah, Matt Rule.
I mean, but that's his business though, bro. Like we still want for Deshaun, you know what I'm saying?
That's just
he didn't want to come here either.
I'm trying to find this stupid Matt Rule picture on Twitter. Go ahead, Nick.
I didn't see him dance, okay? Like, personally, if you are out somewhere and music's going and it's a dance floor, by all means. If you want to dance. Yeah, like, I'm not one to make fun of somebody for dancing because, bro, I don't know how to dance, okay? No. I am just a white kid from the sticks who does not know how to dance.
I bet you I'm a better dancer than Matt Rule.
Dude, I bet you're a better dancer than I am, Cody, okay?
Oh, no.
Straight up, as far as the whole wrinkled pants and everything like that, bro, I've lived on my own for the last 6 years. I've never had a woman take care of me, and bro, I will never leave my house with my pants wrinkled like that. That is just a character flaw. Bro, care about how you appear out in public because you are the face of a franchise. Act like it, man.
That boy is
stressed. He looks like a fat uncle.
Right,
bro.
Cody, he's that weird uncle that hangs out in the corner that nobody likes.
He probably stink too.
Man probably hasn't taken a shower in 5 days.
You know what though? You know what though? He does got a lot of money. He's got more money than anybody in this chat.
No, I think Bill gets paid more.
I mean, hey, all those dudes do, man.
Exactly.
That's the thing about
exactly.
it.
And if any of us could trade their spots, we probably would do it in a $2 second.
But, dude, and I would do it, and I would live with the hate, man. Because the other thing is too, it's like I understand everybody's argument of, oh, what does he have to dance for, or everything like that. But bro, let me tell you, who you are as a person is defined by what you do in dark times. If you man up and you do what you're supposed to do, and you come out of that hole, that shows what kind of man you are.
Right.
Now, Rule hasn't done that yet, but I think a lot of that is going to show this year. Right. You know, last year he kind of doubled down on what he had going for him, and he had to live with a lot of what he had. Okay, but and he did it to himself. I'm not going to sit here and try to defend him and say that he didn't do it to himself. But bro, this is his year to nut up or shut up. Straight up, do what you need to do or get out. That's it.
I think it was on Pat McAfee's show. They were saying that my man is aging like a president. Like, is this the one, Drew?
Yep.
Yeah. Is it before coffee, after coffee? Dude.
What that Rule looks like and what he wants to be.
Dude.
Well, now you got to give it, though. One's married and one's not.
One puts together a solid football team.
Don't go there.
One also lives in Los Angeles, too.
I mean, that's the difference. So if I was a head coach, I wouldn't be a head coach long. Because I wouldn't have no sympathy. For example, I would say in a press conference that Sam Darnold has great arm talent. But the problem is he lacks talent between one ear to the other ear.
Yeah.
That's where he lacks his talent.
He's not saying that, though.
I would say that, though. So I'm saying if I was head coach, I would say that. I would say, Cam Irving, with all due respect, I know you got a big contract, but you couldn't block a fat man racing to a salad bar. So sit your ass over in the corner and shut up.
That's funny.
Bro, that's our coach,
I
bro.
wouldn't be the head coach long.
All the people who made fun of Cam
Jason.
for dressing, all the people who made fun of Cam, bro, and like, this is what we get. Remember
that. Yeah, man, this is everybody made fun of Cam for how he dressed, and now we have like Uncle Okie Doke.
Well,
now we got Uncle Okie Doke.
I said this on Twitter. My personal opinion. I said it on Twitter, and I said it on the Tuesday chat. I don't really give a rat's butt what people wear. I didn't care what Cam wore, and I don't care what Matt Rule wears. The only thing I ask is I don't want to see Cam in his underwear, and I don't want to see Matt Rule in his underwear. That's all I ask.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I really ask.
Leave some to the imagination. And listen, I'm not here to shame anyone for the way they look. I mean, like my deal is this, dude. You know, Andy Reid is a big guy. Yep. He wears his Tommy Bahama shirts, but that dude wins Super Bowls and is in the playoffs every year.
Right.
So it's like, you know, we don't care how you look. I mean, like, to me, this isn't even news. It was just going around Twitter and people wanting to comment on Matt Rule. Look, he looks like how he looks like.
Right.
I mean, my thing is this. To me, it was just the dancing thing. Like, I just thought that was funny. Out of all the NFL coaches that would be dancing at the owners' meeting, if you had to pick one, it probably wouldn't have been Matt Rule. You know, and again, not trying to shame here, but he doesn't necessarily have a dancer's body. If we're just being real,
can I
Bro,
ask?
don't make fun of the fat kids, all right?
No,
we got.
Let me not disrespect my big boys.
I see some really good fat dancers, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Can I ask you, in reality, because I am married, and Drew, you're married. Let me ask y'all something. We don't know. Does anybody know the story behind the story? Maybe his wife wanted to dance and drug his ass up there. That could happen.
But did she go?
Maybe he was forced.
That's what I don't know that. That's what I'm asking. Does anybody know?
No,
Does anybody know the story behind the story?
Maybe he pulled another
dancing up there.
Maybe he pulled another Urban Meyer and some a younger lass pulled him onto the dance floor.
Well, you know what? To be honest, if he did, good for him.
Right. And by the way, shout out to David Screws for the $2. He said Matt Rule looks like he works at Domino's Pizza. Man,
this man doesn't deserve a job at Domino's. This guy deserves a job at the local gas station.
Domino's? I know.
That's too low.
Bro, let me tell you something. The guy at the gas station at least gets me the right stuff. The guy at Domino's, I can't tell you how many times.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
Cody, you want that McAfee?
If Matt Rule delivered your pizza, it would definitely be a mess by the time he got it to you, dude. That pizza would not be in one piece.
I once 7 years, just like Jay-Z.
I once got a pizza from Domino's that was literally in the box upside down.
Oh, for sure, bro.
That's a fact. I stood on the porch, opened it up. It was upside down. I walked out and put it in that man's car, and I said, "Give me my money."
I've had a pizza from Papa John's where 2 slices were missing.
Yeah,
like, how did you think I'm not going to notice? Like, they're literally not in the box.
Yeah, you're crippled, not blind, right?
Yeah, dude, what the hell, man? This is crazy. All right. But all right, so look, let's kind of continue to stay on the Panthers here. Like, I mean, I don't know. Does anyone have anything more on the coaches?
Did you
Matt
see?
Kind of looks like he should be hanging out with Tony's brother doing laundry.
Cody, do you watch Pat McAfee?
Best friend.
Well, one thing I got to ask though about coaches and their attire: does Ron Rivera own a different shirt other than a Hawaiian shirt?
No, dude, I'm telling you, man.
Every time,
really on some Andy
that's
stuff.
all he wears at these coaches meetings. Have y'all looked it up? Have you ever noticed that's when he was in Carolina? That's all he ever wore at these coaches meetings was a Hawaiian shirt.
Hey, at least he stays consistent.
That's true.
Did you see Evan Neal's workout, Cody?
What, his pro day or his?
Yeah, his pro day.
No, actually, I didn't. Was that today?
I don't know. I seen a couple of clips on Instagram, man, and that's who I want. I want Evan Neal, man, because I know at the end of the day, if we do get a QB, if Matt Rule doesn't make it through this season, we get a new head coach. The new head coach gonna want his own new QB, and then we gonna be back in the same position of. I'd rather just build the wall, man. When are we gonna build this wall?
Let me ask you an honest question, right? I know you're a Cam super fan like me, right? Do you think if you brought Cam Newton back to this football team and you drafted Evan Neal at number 6, right? When you look at that team, is Cam Newton on that team going to be able to overcome Matt Rule's terrible coaching?
Yes.
That's a good question, ain't it? That's a
yes, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Because once an MVP, always an MVP. And when Cam Newton has had a full offseason to prepare with all his entire weapons and having an offseason to learn the playbook, yes, absolutely, man. Cam Newton only 31, you guys. Cam Newton's not that old.
I agree with G-Baby on this one. I 100% agree with G-Baby on this one. You put Cam Newton with a full offseason, and if you – I don't think he will be there. But if him or Ikem Ekwonu were there and the Panthers took him and you put him in front of Cam, I'd say this team is second in the NFC South and they got a shot at the playoffs.
You guys, the NFC is not that tough this year. The NFC is not that tough this year. I truly, honestly believe that last playoff spot could be an 8-win team.
Whoa!
In the NFC.
You just said that we ain't going to go 2. We ain't going to win but 2 games this year. Why would we?
If we're running with Sam Darnold at QB, if we have Sam Darnold at QB, we're a 2-win team. But when you have, Cody, when you had Tony on your porch that one day, what did Tony tell you on your porch? Tell him.
That's a good point.
Tell him.
I said, Tony, how you feel about the game today? And he said, hey man, as long as Cam Newton's the quarterback, I feel like we've got a chance. And I'm like, all right, man, that's it. And like, look, I'm on the same team. I want to see Cam Newton come back and do this again. I understand there's a lot of people in this chat room that don't want to see that happen. And look, I don't really know what to say, man. Like, I understand the reasons why y'all don't want him. I mean, at this point, you have to have faith in something. Like, you're having to have faith that Cam Newton can have the same kind of season like he used to have before. He has not had a season like that in a long time, so I understand why people might be skeptical. I just think that he deserves the benefit of the doubt to have this team built around him a little bit. And then even still, that doesn't prevent you from moving on from him. You know, if it doesn't work out this year, then at least you've built the team, you've built the offensive line. And like Fitterer says, all you have to do is drop a quarterback in, and the Panthers are ready to roll. So
when are we going to draft a franchise left tackle?
I think we already have him on the roster.
Yeah.
We just that's
another thing. Do you don't believe in Brady? Do you don't believe Brady Christensen?
I believe in Brady Christensen, but as long as Matt Rule's the coach, he ain't going to play.
Yeah, you're right. Matt Rule does not believe in him, Cody, at all.
He does not believe in Brady Christensen, man.
All right, you guys are not paying attention to what's happening. Okay? With all due respect, you ain't. James Camper, the offensive line coach, has outright said Brady Christensen could be a great left tackle.
That is true. Our new O-line coach does
he's
really
the new offensive line coach. He's not like that idiot that we had last year, whose most famous thing he could say is he coached the Lions offensive line once. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. This is an excellent offensive line coach. If let's put our cards on the table here. We've already spoken that we believe David Tepper has basically gave the keys to Scott Fitterer. Scott Fitterer is building it. All right. On the offense, he's taking input from the offensive line coach and the offensive coordinator. That's who he's listening to. They're not listening. They're not concentrating on, okay, Matt Rule, who do you want for quarterback? Who do you want for offensive line? And not including nobody else like they did last year. That's not working anymore. Now, Scott Fitterer is saying, all right, Matt, who you want? Okay, hang on a minute. All right, James Camper, who do you think will work out? All right, Scott McAfee.
Yeah, the point. I hear the point that you're making.
Spreading that out, he's building that up. I'm not saying these guys are going to be great. I'm not. I'm just saying Brady Christensen could be excellent, and that's true. I agree to that, very much so. But I don't believe that Matt Rule has as much power. If he did,
I don't know if that's true though.
Okay, well, nobody really knows a whole
because
true.
Fitterer said that it was Matt Rule the one who's been talking to Cam. So what does that tell you?
That you know what, Cam Newton's situation. Here's what I think. I think Cam Newton's been offered a contract, and I think he don't want to sign it.
But he's been talking to Matt Rule though, Matt Rule still runs it.
But I think Scott Fitterer offered Cam Newton a contract before Cam Newton left. But the deal is,
let me do two things real quick. One, Noah, what's going on, bro? Welcome back to the show.
What's up, Cody?
What's up, man? And so I'm gonna go to you after I asked Nick to follow up what he was gonna say. So be ready, Noah. But Nick, you were gonna say something. What were you gonna say?
So basically, we were talking about Cam, if I remember correctly. Sorry, I spaced.
No, you're fine,
I've been out since 3. So, look, okay. Part of the reason why I think we haven't heard anything with Cam is because this team has learned from what the mistakes that it made last offseason, okay? Especially at the quarterback position in regards to the draft. If you look back at what happened last year, we had already had Sam Darnold on the roster well before draft time. If you saw how everything went last offseason, you knew that the chances of us drafting a quarterback were slim to none. It would not make sense to sign or to go after Sam Darnold and give up the amount of the assets that we had if we weren't going to try to keep him long term if he was worth it. Okay. Yeah. I don't think we should have picked up his 5th-year option, but that's going down a tangent. Okay. As far as the mistake that we made last season, everybody knew we weren't going with quarterback before the draft. So who's to say that Cam, Scott Fitterer, and Matt don't have some agreement that, hey, you aren't going to sign anywhere. You're going to sign with us after the draft. So that way we had the potential to trade back and go after whoever we need to.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Now, the thing to remember is, though, Cam Newton, and feel about this as you may, he has been disrespected by this organization a number of times. Okay? Between how he was let go and the style of everything that happened right after he was let go, That's the first big flaw that this team made under David Tepper. Okay, I'm not going to go back as far as we did never put no line in front of him. Okay, but the fact that how we let him go the first time was pretty screwed up. Okay, on top of
Spit in
that,
the face.
bringing him back and then having him being benched behind Sam Darnold whenever we were already losing the season, we weren't gonna get any better than where we were at. Okay, and he doesn't even play the last home game in Charlotte. Bro, I've been pounding the table ever since that game, and I will continue to pound the table. I want to see Cam back. I think if he does come back, he's gonna be signed right after the draft. But bro,
yes,
he deserves better than what we've given him.
Yeah. Bro, he's the best Carolina Panther to dress in a Carolina uniform. What the fuck y'all talking about, man? This is the best Carolina Panther ever, man. Give me one Panther greater than Cam Newton. Oh, wait. Steve Smith is number 2. He's number 2.
That's a whole nother debate.
Steve Smith is number 2.
That's a whole nother debate.
Steve Smith is the reason why I'm a Carolina fan. I live in Utah. I used to go to the U to watch Steve Smith play, bro.
Yeah,
exactly. That's why
I hear you. Hold on, G. What I'm saying is this, though, man. Regardless of if you like Cam, if you think Cam has something left in the tank, regardless of any of that, to me, everything Nick just said was 1,000% the truth. Like, not only do you have a chance to actually do right by him competitively by putting a competitive football team around him, now you leave no more excuses, no more doubts, nothing left for anyone to say. You give Cam the opportunity to show you what he can do. You give the fans the opportunity to give him the send-off that they want to see. And it still doesn't prevent you from getting the quarterback of the future if you want one. So to me, I'm hoping that this is what happens. I'm going to be real with y'all, though. The more and more time goes on, I really don't know. Yeah, I don't know that this is likely. I don't know that that's going to happen.
Again, who the hell wants to play with us? Cam is a free agent. He decides where he wants to go. So who the hell wants to play for this organization? Especially him after we treated him. Who does?
One thing I want to say real quick, and then I'll let everyone else talk. That I forgot to mention. Okay, the reason why Matt Rule is the one that's reaching out to Cam is because Matt Rule is the one who disrespected him.
Yeah.
At the end of this past season, it wasn't Scott Fitter. Scott Fitter wanted him to play. Okay, and Matt Rule has finally been trumped by David Tepper, and he's probably been told, "Hey, you don't get the last say in everything. Scott Fitter does."
David Tepper made
that was the case. He was fired, bro.
Yeah. And real quick, Noah just jumped on. I wanted to ask Noah what he thought about the question in today's title. Noah, if you're still with me, do you think Sam Darnold is going to be the starting quarterback? And, do you think that maybe we would start Sam but still draft someone to play underneath him? Or behind him, rather.
Starting quarterback. I think Carolina actually tweeted that out. I don't think he should be the starting quarterback. I mean, yeah, he got a good arm. He can throw good, but I mean, I think that he's like a secondary quarterback than somebody else. I mean, he's like how I put it. He's like a like if you need somebody that's in desperate moments and like you just don't have another quarterback there to like help you.
So you're a backup.
Backup. He should be a backup. And I mean,
hold on. Hey, Noah, I think Noah, do me a favor. Jump out of the show and then come back in. I'm gonna try and bring you in. Your audio is kind of going in and out on you. So jump out and then jump back in, and we'll try and get you in here.
Hey, Cody.
Yeah, man. What's up?
I also heard that, like, and I don't know how true this is, but I heard that, like, the conversation they had with Cam was if Deshaun comes, he's going to get suspended, and we want you to play the first couple games and then be the backup. That's what I heard the discussion was.
Oh, you mean for Cam Newton coming here?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Cam's like, nah, I'm good.
But see that, but I heard the opposite though. I heard that Cam would be okay doing that. So that's what the Joe Person article that I put up earlier. They had he said there that Cam Newton would have been okay with coming back under those circumstances. So I don't know if that is or isn't true, man. I obviously, I have no inside track.
We would have been in heaven, bro.
I tend to trust Joe Person
for sure
over anybody, most other people. I don't know if there's anybody more I trust than Joe Person.
Yeah,
that's just me though. That's my personal opinion.
He's been pretty accurate through his career.
So Joe don't often make stuff up. Just unlike other folks in the media, he don't often make stuff up just to get more clicks on the internet.
Yeah. So, yeah, he definitely doesn't, man. He's connected. We're gonna try and get him on again soon, and pick his brain a little bit. Yeah, I mean, so I'm just to the point now where it's like nothing would really surprise me from the quarterback position for the Panthers. Like just being real, I could also very easily see a scenario where the Carolina Panthers just decide, you know what? We're going to go one more year with Sam Darnold and then draft a quarterback. I can also see them bringing in Cam Newton and, drafting an offensive lineman. Like there's so many different answers and different things that could actually, prove to be relevant and something that the Panthers might do.
But Cody, tell me something. I've got one question for you. Think of all the successful head coaches that have come on in the last, 10, 12 years. Name me one that did not draft his own quarterback within his first 2 years on the job.
The Rams head coach.
So just name.
He had Jared Goff. He just traded for another one. But I'm saying Mike.
Yeah,
Tomlin,
that's what I say. But I mean,
Mike Tomlin. He went ahead and got trapped at Roethlisberger. I'm just saying, all these guys that come in within the first 2 years draft a rookie quarterback and have him sitting behind somebody. Matt Rule is the only one that I know of that came in as like, oh, I'm going to just bring in a free agent and we're just going to let him go and then we're just not going to draft the quarterbacks.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great point, Drew, and that you bring up right there, man. It's like if you're Matt Rule, it's not guaranteed to save your job because there have been a bunch of teams that have fired their head coach even after the first year with a rookie quarterback. But I do think you're right, though, man. It's like at the end of the day, you have to draft your franchise quarterback. And, so let me add two people and then I'll finish my thought. Alex, are you with us? What's up, Alex?
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Chilling, man, chilling. And then, of course, from Nine Lives Panther podcast, my man from New York, Keeb, what's up, brother? You with me?
Yes, sir. What's up, fellas?
What's up? Chilling, man. All right, let me get both of y'all in this discussion, man. Is Sam Darnold looking more and more like the answer every day? We'll go to Alex, and then we'll go to Keeb.
No, he's not the answer.
Okay.
But, I mean, unfortunately, with the situation that we're in, it's going to be tough. I would want to bring in I'd want to bring in Cam Newton back, but I don't think they pretty much Fitter kind of said, like, here's the role and this is what we want you to do. And that's why I think Cam's not going to come back, because I think they want him to be a backup, and he's not going to back up Darnold. There's no way. He can't. First of all, Darnold doesn't even hold. Yeah, right. He doesn't even hold his jock strap. Darnold's not even close to Cam Newton. So, and that's the thing. But then again, maybe we draft Willis and we bring Cam. There's a lot of options out there. I think Carolina doesn't want to show their card too much, show their hand. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping that we build the O-line, bring Cam in for another year, and then just go from there.
Yeah, and before we go forward, to your point, Alex, like, so I was actually watching this earlier, like when you see Matt Rule and Scott Fitter at the pro days of all the quarterbacks, and they're literally right behind them while they're throwing. A lot of people are like, oh, are the Panthers just feigning interest in the quarterback so they can get someone to jump in front of them? Dude, I don't even think we're thinking that hard about it. I think we're just so interested in doing our work on these quarterbacks that, yeah, man, we're like, yeah, we're trying to see who's going to be the guy that we're going to draft. So I'm about to go to Key real quick, but let me introduce Brad to the show. Brad, what's going on, brother?
Oh, just figured I'd hop in here, see how everybody's doing. Hope everybody's having a good Friday night, usual.
I love it, man. I love it. Happy you could join us again. Get ready because we'll come back to you with this question after my man Keeb goes on it. Keeb, talk to me, man. So again, like none of us believe that Sam Darnold is the answer. That's a foregone conclusion. We all know that. How I'm shifting my question is there a world where Sam Darnold could at least be our starter going forward while we give our rookie quarterback enough time to kind of learn the ropes and become a competent starter in the NFL, especially looking at what Sam Darnold did to start the season last year, where he wasn't great, but he wasn't terrible either. He showed off good athleticism. Keeb, what say you, man?
I mean, Cody, again, like you said, it's a foregone conclusion to say that Sam Darnold is any good for the Carolina Panthers, but at the end of the day, you paid him $18 million because, out of a necessity. Because we were at a position where our fan base abnormally was so high on bringing in Sam Darnold that this organization felt the need to give this guy his fifth-year option. We're stuck, Cody, and to be honest right now, I don't know who that is, but like I was saying, to be honest right now, it's that as Panther fans, who've seen years in and years out of disappointment, I believe we have to look at all aspects of this and how it might come down to. Like you said, I don't think the Panthers are thinking that deep into, trying to fool anybody. If you're listening to the NLP podcast, we've been trying to get a quarterback. We've been trying to get people excited about one of these two quarterbacks. I'm higher on Pickett than I am on Willis, but again, it doesn't really matter because we don't have anybody as a quarterback. So you got to get somebody in here. But again, it can be a possibility that Sam Darnold can be our day one starter. And I don't think even if you draft one of these quarterbacks that you're comfortable enough to put them out there the first couple of games. So we'll see.
Yeah. And so I have a different question that I want to get to, but I want to get to Brad and get his opinion on this before we move on to it. Brad, do you think that Sam could at least be okay in the interim? Like maybe they'll bring Cam Newton back. Fine. That's a whole nother discussion. But could it be possible that they look at Sam Darnold as like, okay, this is your audition for us and the world and for your NFL future going forward. Do the best with what we can give you here. And you draft a quarterback to be able to kind of bring up behind him. Is that far-fetched, Brad?
So I think that Sam Darnold is going to be the day one starter. I've been thinking that for a while. So there are a lot of reasons why. I think there's a couple things, right? So I think they are going to draft a quarterback. I don't think it's going to be Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis. I think they're going to try and trade back and probably pick up an edge rusher or Penning or another tackle that's further down to try and get somebody else in the second round. The reality is, if you look at their cap situation for next year, if we go into next year's cap, we're already going to be $3 million in the hole, and that's with $15 million rollover, assuming they have $15 million to roll over, right?
Right.
So they are not.
I do think it'll increase, but I hear you though.
But that's with them assuming a cap of $235 million, which is a significant increase over the cap this year. They're not going to be in a position where they can really afford to pay Sam Darnold or really be in a position where they can go out on the free agent market and be aggressive and getting a quarterback that way. I think they have to draft a quarterback. I don't think it's. I think that's a foregone conclusion at this point. I just don't think it's going to be in the first round. I think they might wait and try and take like Sam Howell if he falls to the second round. It just kind of depends. I think they want to make their offense quarterback proof. because that's kind of the impression we've gotten. That's the kind of offense that, I understand that Ben McAdoo has been good for quarterbacks when he's in an offensive coordinator position, but, it would not surprise me if they come out and their game plan is win with defense and run the ball 50 times a game. I mean, that minimize the amount of risk that Sam Darnold can be put in. I think that's that's their game plan. They don't want to be predicated on having a franchise quarterback. They want to go into it and have somebody who can just make quick dump offs, distribute the football, get the ball to guys in space and go from there.
And so you've been go ahead, Nick.
So basically, Brad, like out of curiosity, that seems to me like a repeat of just last year.
They want to pray that Christian McCaffrey stays healthy. Is what it sounds like.
Well, not necessarily even that. Look at how our defense was last year. I don't know about you guys, man, but I was excited about that defense going into the season. And even the first, I'd say 10 games, I was pretty impressed with what the defense did other than the Dallas game. The Dallas game, they just tore us apart. But it's
right.
Dallas. Like,
Nick,
I expected that.
How much better do you think it's gotten, though?
I don't think it's gotten better at all. I think it's going to take a step back, but that depends on what they do with that first pick, right? I mean, there's a lot of projections that Kayvon Thibodeau is going to fall. So, do they trade back and take Kayvon Thibodeau?
Dude, they are killing that dude, bro. What's up with that?
Dude, I'm telling you, every couple of years it happens to a player where it's like they have this crazy high evaluation, and then as time goes on, people just start to sour on this guy.
They say he's lazy. What is that about?
Yeah, like they're saying he has no work ethic. They're saying he has no motor. Now, I personally find that his film, I think he's a damn good player, but I see a lot of Brian Burns in him in that I think he's an incredible outside rusher. I think he's incredibly agile. He can go inside or outside, but I don't think he's very strong in the run game. I don't think he sets a very physical edge, which is what the Panthers kind of have a problem with on their defensive line right now.
So you think he's a 3-4 linebacker then?
I think ultimately his best fit is going to be a 3-4 linebacker. I think if a team does want to put his hand in the dirt, it's not like he can't do it, but that's not where I would want him to play at his best. He's not he's not like Aiden Hutchinson. To me, Aiden Hutchinson is my number one pass rusher in this draft by a mile. I think Aiden Hutchinson is the real deal.
Trayvon Walker scored a perfect 10 on his RAS score. For lack of a better term, and I'm sorry, this is going to be PG. Matt Rule's going to be stroking his 3-inch cock looking at that RAS score.
Damn, bro.
My thing about wow, that's a crazy one, Brad. My thing about this draft though is that none of these guys that you go through and look at, and when you compare them to other years, if you're talking about the receivers, the corners, any of that stuff, in this class, none of them are like head and shoulders the man, right? Every position has a guy that might be number one, but they're not for example, there's no Myles Garrett in this year's class.
Bosa.
Like a Bosa. I wouldn't even say from the cornerback position. There isn't, I know there's a lot been made about Sauce Gardner and Stingley and stuff like that, but I wouldn't even compare them to J.C. Horn and Surtain that came out last year. So it's like this draft class is like you're having to project a little bit. The
Cody,
question
you think Evan Neal's the best? You think Evan Neal's the best player in the draft?
No, I mean, so I'm still working on my big board. I'm gonna put that out sometime soon. I'm gonna put out my top 50.
Okay, cool.
But it might be a surprise who I have number one. It might not be. But at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know. I'll put it this way: when I put my list out, everybody will see how I have this draft looking. But,
can't wait, bro.
Yeah, man, I'm working hard on it, putting it together. Let me ask y'all this: Is there a player that you're disappointed if we take it number 6? Like, if we took a certain player at number 6, would you be like, damn, the Panthers made a mistake?
If we take a
Like,
defensive back, yes.
Okay, so defensive back, clearly.
I'll be mad, bro.
I think that there's still like an argument to be made that defensive back room is not very deep, right? I mean, I could understand, like, we haven't re-signed Stephon Gilmore. We brought back Dante Jackson, which, I mean, you look at, I honestly think bringing back Dante Jackson at that price was a mistake. I really do. I think they overpaid for him a lot. But
Dante?
Yeah, but that being said, like, I don't think that's a particularly deep room. I could certainly see them trying to get somebody, but I just hope it's not, like, if they're going to take a cornerback in the first round, then they better be trading back. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I feel like, I'm going to be honest, like, if they take a quarterback at number 6 overall and they don't trade back, I'm going to be disappointed. I'm going to be really upset, even if it's Malik Willis, because that tells me that they're phoning it home on this season. I mean, just in general. I know everybody's high on Kenny Pickett and they think that he's, you know, he can lead a franchise, but I think there's a very real possibility that even if they draft Kenny Pickett at 6 overall, that Sam Darnold still beats him in training camp and still starts most of the season. Like, a lot of people,
I mean, it's not far fetched. I mean, at this point, Sam Darnold does have 4 years of NFL experience, and I tell you what, that would be one heck of a thing if a rookie, especially Malik Willis, who all the knocks on him is that he's not ready to play NFL football just yet. If he came in and beat out Sam Darnold, that would be one heck of a thing, man. But,
Cody, he's mocked number 2 now to Detroit, bro.
Who Willis is?
I've seen that a lot lately.
I mean, dude, I'm seeing more and more of even trades of guys trying to move up into the 5th, or, you know, move up at the Giants to grab a quarterback. I mean, I'm telling you, man, these quarterbacks always get overvalued, whether you like them a lot or not. The quarterbacks generally go early, so I think that's going to happen again this year. Hey, I know my man Drew has got to get out of here. Drew, as always, I appreciate you for coming and spending your Fridays with us and hanging out, man. Is there anything you want to tell the people before you jump out of here?
Hey, I just want to say thank you guys for having me. I enjoy the Friday free-for-all. Can't wait for next week's show. I'll keep listening, but you guys keep pounding, and let's keep our fingers crossed that Scott Fitterick can get Matt Rule on the right track, because I'm tired of seeing losing football.
Facts.
Let's go, man. Let's go. And Fitterer we trust, because it ain't Matt Rule.
Keep pounding.
All right, Drew. Have a good afternoon, man. I'll see you next time, man.
All right, later, bro.
All right, later, Drew.
So, Cody,
go ahead, Nick.
You had asked the question as far as who we would be disappointed in if they were drafted at number 6. And, bro, let me tell you something, okay? I'm not about that small hands life. You better keep Kenny Pickett out of my life, bro. I don't want to see that man on a Panthers field unless if we're playing him. Because, bro, that has Kyle Allen Jr. written all over it, and I've seen this game before.
So I want to interject here really quick. So Kenny Pickett's stats from last season: 4,319 yards, 42 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 81.2. That's eerily similar to a gentleman with, let's just read this here. Yards 3,864, percentage 67. Or I'm sorry, where's the QBR? Where's his QBR? 82.5. Touchdowns 37, interceptions 8. Do you know who that other person is? Any guesses?
Joe Burrow?
Josh Allen?
No,
Cam Newton.
No. Will Greer.
Oh my God! Don't say that.
You're just proving my point, man.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Like, it's,
okay.
People are trying to telling me that or trying to tell everybody that Kenny Pickett's the most pro-ready quarterback in this class, and if that's the case, I mean, I don't think they're. I think the player, the quarterback that will have the best career in this class is going to probably be Malik Willis if he's given enough time to sit and develop. I think that Kenny Pickett.
Same temperature it was earlier. Oh, actually, it's probably cooler because the sun went down.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't even talking about it. Go ahead, Brad.
But I think that Kenny Pickett's going to be a solid backup quarterback in the NFL. I don't think he's going to be a solid starter. He's not going to be he will not be a franchise quarterback. He will be a play within the system. He will be a Jared Goff style quarterback.
But let me ask you this though. Okay. So I know Connor. He said earlier he's a big time fan of Kenny Pickett. Okay,
I am.
I'm like okay. I'm between all of you, right? I like Malik Willis the best, so he would be my preferred. I think that you should bet on the long term talent, but I'm kind of in between all of you. It's like I don't dislike Kenny Pickett as much as Nick and Brad do, but I don't love him as much as Connor does. Now, what I want to ask to Brad and Nick is this: what don't you like about? So, is it okay if it's the hands and you think that's going to be a problem for him long term? Fine, I understand that, and there's nothing I can really say to that. But what is there anything about his game, based on what you have seen, that you don't think will translate to being a successful NFL quarterback? But I'll let either Nick or Brad go first, and then I'll go to you, Connor.
Go ahead, Brad. Go ahead, Brad.
So the biggest thing that I kind of look at when I evaluated him, or when I've kind of gotten this general opinion, is if you watch his tape from the Senior Bowl, right? If you watch his tape from the Senior Bowl when he's throwing in the weather, that ball is not going anywhere. He actually played very poorly in the Senior Bowl in the weather, right? He doesn't have the arm strength to push a ball through inclement weather at all. And I just don't, that's not necessarily a great thing for a team that plays in an outdoor stadium 8 games a year, right? I think that's problem number one. I think that, all the stats are great, but he also didn't play he didn't play in the SEC. I mean, he played in the AAC or ACC, which is which is not but it's not a particularly tough division. I mean, the toughest team in that division is Clemson. I mean, I don't know. I think that, I just worry that if you take Kenny Pickett at 6 overall, you're overdrafting him a lot. That's my problem, right? Is, anytime I see somebody in a mock draft that drafts him really before pick 15 or so, that grade is a D on that pick, because he's not the skills. He doesn't have any traits that I would sit back and say you can't teach. He's got coachable traits. He's just a basic vanilla quarterback.
Okay. Hey man, look who we can welcome to the show right now. The man, the myth, the legend, the professor.
Grandma in the house.
Tony, what's up, brother?
What's up, dude?
Chilling, man. Talking about having a whole quarterback discussion. I feel like we always are. But we're discussing Kenny Pickett. We got Connor in the building. Connor loves him some Kenny Pickett. But Nick and Brad aren't so sold on baby hands, man. And then Tony, while you're here, I wanted to ask you this question now that I have you. Do you think that there's a scenario that we look at Sam Darnold as just a bridge quarterback? Like maybe no matter what we do, we just let Sam start and play and then look to upgrade either in the draft or maybe next year.
Yeah, I think that's what you're going to have to do at this point. I mean, either to me, it just doesn't make sense to go get another bridge quarterback. Is that, will they be better? Sure. I mean, there's we all go through the same names. First, I don't think Jimmy G's a name anybody's interested in since his shoulder surgery. He's not even be ready for training camp potentially. So there's just too many red flags on an average player right there in my book, or a game manager, or however you want to describe him. I think he's a bum personally, but that's just me. Who I like, but at the same time, I am admitted that that's like a personal, like I like him as a person and the kind of thing. And I'm rooting for him to kind of like I'm rooting for little baby Bird all the time. I got some favorites. but I don't think he's going to be necessarily all of a sudden that would come in and solve anything other than just give us a new name to like momentarily before we hated him. So I think that this is, you know what, man, might as well let Sam Darnold suck up the ire of the fan base and the problems. And really, you guys, we were saying on Tuesday, is that Matt Rule and them did this, dude. They should have to deal with it, you know, like, and the worst thing to do is, this is why I haven't been for going and getting Cam, is like, you're just adding to the salary cap. You're just adding temporary Band-Aids to open serious wounds.
Yeah.
So I think this is, again, I think the Panthers have to either go, Matt, now maybe they get aggressive and go after Kyler Murray. I mean, that could be, but it's going to take them drafting a quarterback. It's just, is it this year or next year is the real question. And I want to respond briefly to, was it Brad just talking about Kenny Pickett?
Yeah.
I understand that he does not have the traits that make you the greatest prospect in like the greatest prospect, right? Like, but at the same time, I just don't like the draft. It's almost like draft hipsters that are like, well, it's okay to take him at 28, but not at 6. Say we had the you know what I mean? If you think he's going to be the starting quarterback next year, then really, what does it matter what pick it is? And if you don't believe he's going to be the starting quarterback, then you shouldn't pick him at 28, 48, or 6 overall. Like, to me, it's just like this, is like Will Grier was a bad pick, period, because you didn't think he was going to be good regardless. So it's just a wasted pick. So I think if you feel like you're going to, I just don't understand that entire thing. If he turns out to be a starter, right, for in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, he's worth any pick.
Hey, Brad, why don't you go through and read those stats again, and then we'll see if Tony can figure out who that player is. You know, because that right there, speaks highly to your argument as well as mine.
By the way, whoever has the TV on in the background, mute the TV or the volume while you're, or either that or just mute your microphone while you're sitting there chilling, not saying anything. But yeah, so Brad earlier, he read out Will Grier's his stat line and how they were eerily similar to Will Grier when Will Grier came out.
Kenny Pickett, you mean?
Yeah, Kenny Pickett was very similar to Will Grier, and that their stat lines were similar. But again, this is one of the things, and I know Tony can vouch for me on this. Like, I'm really done comparing quarterbacks to other quarterbacks. Like, you can do it from an evaluation standpoint, and like their gameplay reminds you of someone. But like, I'm not gonna take Will Grier's stat line and say, okay, well, since they're similar, I think they're the same player. Like I said to you all, I agree. I think Kenny Pickett is a better quarterback talent than Mac Jones. I would prefer Pickett over Mac Jones. I think that he has better athleticism. I think that he's better rolling outside the pocket. And I think that he has better arm talent. If I'm being perfectly honest with you. Go ahead, Connor.
Go ahead, Connor. I know you have a point to make too, Connor. Go ahead.
So, another point that I was just thinking of. So, Pickett's stock has been absolutely plummeting, it seems like. So, guess what? We could trade back to pick 15, 16, or 17. We could trade back with the Eagles, maybe. And we could draft Pickett. And we could still get some draft capital. And another thing is, when I say that I like Kenny Pickett, I'm not hating on Malik Willis. I like Willis also. Pickett is the better option for us.
I don't think.
It seems like the better option for us.
Pickett's not gonna. So Pickett is not going to be there. I don't think past pick 13. I just don't.
Yeah. Where do you think he's going?
I think he's either going
Seattle, New Orleans.
I think
Atlanta.
I think Pittsburgh's going to trade up and go get him.
Washington.
Well, I've heard Pittsburgh associated with Willis and Pickett.
Well, another thing that I wanted to bring up. It seems like why haven't we been talking about maybe trading back into maybe? I'm seeing some people in the chat right now talking about Sam Howell. Why aren't we considering him not at 6?
I'm not a fan. I'm just not.
I mean, heck no.
To me, Sam Howell, and this is just my opinion. I mean, count it for what it's worth. Sam Howell to me is like Baker Mayfield 2.0. I don't love his pocket mechanics. I don't love his athleticism. I mean, he has a good arm, but he also doesn't have that prototypical quarterback size either. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like, if there's any wild card quarterback in the draft this year, it's Desmond Ritter. Desmond Ritter.
I thought it would be Corral.
Yeah,
wild card. I mean, I know he is a top. I mean, he's kind of one of the top prospects, but to me, that's someone else. I mean, there is an argument that Connor's making is that, like, look, is that if you don't feel comfortable with these guys at 6, maybe trade back and see if one of the guys that you kind of felt comfortable, like in theory, you think could work, but you just weren't really to risk it for the biscuit type thing, that you still might get them.
I respect
everybody. That might be the case.
Chat room. I'm just speaking what's in my heart and what's on my mind.
Yeah, you're right, man. All right.
So what happens if we draft a quarterback and we have a bad season and we fire Matt Rule? Now we got.
So I'm gonna be honest with you.
That's a legitimate concern too. That's a legitimate concern.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that if the free agent moves they've made, with the pursuit of Deshaun Watson, the trying, apparently they were trying to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo before his shoulder surgery. The fact that David Tepper fancies himself to be like, he sees Rule as his Chuck Noll. Chuck Noll didn't start winning until his 5th season as head coach. I would be surprised. If they draft a quarterback or they roll with Sam Darnold, either way, I think Rule's going to stay another year. He'll be here for year 4.
I think you're right, Brad. At this point, I think no matter what, we're signed up for Rule for one more year. So at least one more year after this one, unless if we absolutely fall flat on our faces. So
I hope we don't get lucky. I hope we have a good season, but man, that dude he's really incompetent for real.
He provides no schematic advantage.
Period. I want to speak to Alex. It's Alex, right? I can't see because of the banner. Yeah. Alex's point here is that is a legitimate concern that, like, this is where you get forced into something. What I want us to do is pick a quarterback because we believe in him, right? And that you truly believe in your evaluation and that's the right thing to do. And if you don't truly believe in that, then you shouldn't do it. And that's why I think that's why I say you either pick him if you're going to pick him at 28 and you're going to pick him, then you should pick him at 6 if you really believe that he's worth the future. But I think I think we're going to learn, and I've been saying this for a minute, is that we're going to learn about Carolina's kind of temperament and sentiment with Matt Rule by this draft pick. Is that if you draft a quarterback, that means that the ownership believes in Matt Rule more than we do, right? If they draft a tackle or an offensive lineman or a defense, imagine if they get draft that safety. That just means this is like we're on tank mode. Not tank necessarily, like we might not be selling all the farm or whatever, but Matt Rule is likely not going to be the dude in 2023. You're going to bring in a coach who's going to then pick their quarterback. You can't let Matt Rule flounder on the quarterback for that long.
Yeah, doesn't it feel like dead man walking? Like I'm trying to imagine what scenario saves Matt Rule's job.
But that's the thing is I already think it's safe. I think that no matter what happens, even if Sam Darnold's a starter and we don't pick a quarterback, if we don't pick a quarterback, it's because we've made the free agent moves and we think we can win right now if we just get a defensive end or a safety or something along those lines, right? Whatever they do with that pick, I think that everyone in that building is ready to win now or thinks they're capable of winning right now, no matter who they choose, even if that means starting Sam Darnold. But I mean, I also think,
that makes me question them entirely.
As it should.
Like, if that's how they really think right now, is like, yes, you're never that far away from winning, right? Is that sometimes, like, I agree, like Cody says, like, hey, man, all of a sudden this offensive line can be fixed a lot quicker than we think. And it's true, but the team is so different than it was last year, this year. And that could be for good or worse, for better or for worse. But I think, like, unless you have a quarterback, you can't really believe you're going to win. Like, I mean, not consistently. You can't really think that that's going to look at all the teams. Look at how hard it is to be successful. Drew Brees, 1 Super Bowl, right? 1. Peyton Manning, 2. Aaron Rodgers, 1. Like, I mean, you got all of this, and
Dan Marino, 0.
Everything has to go right. The idea that you could even be a contender with a guy that they don't even believe in Sam Darnold. How about this? Is we got to stop saying this, is that, like, it's not us hating on him. It's them. They just talk shit. Excuse me. They talk junk straight to his face. Straight. Yeah. When they said this, man, Joe Person asked Scott Fitter after the stuff that happened with Baker Mayfield and with Matt Ryan, if you have to manage kind of people's feelings, and he was referring to Sam Darnold, and he goes, "Nah, I didn't call him." Like, he almost made Sam apologize to him instead. So it's like, I have never seen a team in the history of my life, and this has happened twice now. It happened with Teddy, and now it's happened with Sam Darnold. They very well could trot this guy out in week 1. Imagine that. Imagine, like, the tone you have taken. They have not been diplomatic by any means with the way that they have handled Sam Darnold since the season's over.
And they shouldn't. Hey, Tony, to your point, how many people you think on the team, like, if you ask them, hey, do you want Sam to be our quarterback? I bet you everyone would say no. Every single one.
Except for Christian McCaffrey, because they're bros. But
no, he would say no too, bro.
Yeah, that's funny.
Have you guys talked about the Robbie Anderson thing yet?
No, not yet. Tony, you bring it up and I'll try and find it.
So I turned on Twitter yesterday or the day before, and Robbie Anderson says, "Hey, all free agents who haven't signed yet, if you want to win and get paid, come to Carolina." And that's exactly how I felt, Connor. Exactly. Like, what kind of, it was such I don't know if it was a desperate, it just seemed so bizarre, and it made it sound like we would just give money to anybody. And maybe he should feel like that since we gave him all that money.
He wanted another quarterback, bro.
Well, and so looking at how much cap space they have right now, they have like $30 million in cap space. They have the most of all the teams in free agency, and we're still projected to go into next season with negative cap space, right?
Oh, crazy, man! So stupid.
So I'm going to be real. Like, I think they're done in free agency. I think they are done signing players and outside of their draft picks. I think they're saving everything else for in-season trades and any moves they have to make to basically shore up injuries. I mean, I don't see them making another big splash move. I just don't. So,
I mean, again, the salary cap, dude. I have never been more certain that it's a myth than after seeing what the Saints did and going from like negative 70 million to all of a sudden they cleared a bunch of room and they were able to make room for Deshaun. It's like, dude, Federer and Suleiman need to figure out whatever these teams are doing, like the Rams and the Saints, the way they sign their contracts, the way they do their salary cap, whatever they're doing, we need to take a lesson from them. There is no reason that the salary cap, in my opinion, should ever be an argument that's used against us, dude. It may not sound smart, but I'm convinced that it's a joke. My thing is this.
Smartest thing I've ever heard, Cody.
Is there any legitimacy? I mean, Tony, you brought this up. Is there any legitimacy to this? Like, Robbie Anderson saying, hey, man, the Panthers want to win. We want to get people paid. Like, I mean, I don't know. Is he out of balance for even saying this? Like, I got to be real with you. I mean, whether or not you believe it, I like the fact that we have someone that's trying to get people to come here to continue to build the team. Like somebody that's like showing off for Carolina. It's like, yeah, I like that we have someone that is doing that for us. I don't know how successful it will be, but I do like that he's doing this.
I just wish he wasn't a bum, honestly.
Other players on other teams are doing it.
Right.
Of course, they did it in the height of free agency, not when free agency about over. Well, Robbie Anderson might have been helped out if he'd have done it the first day of free agency. He kind of day and turned it down short. But,
and there's still a good bit of free agents left. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but I feel like it would have been more meaningful. It almost makes me feel like, man, just Robbie's dumb. Like, is that like it's not like he's targeting a certain person that he thinks could really help us. It's like, hey, anybody out there, we need all the help we could get in the world. We want to win. I don't know if I don't know. Maybe he bought
37-year-old Dwayne Brown to come in here on a 5-year deal.
Oh gosh, please don't. I know. Like another thing is, I don't ever want a Seattle offensive lineman.
So I would, but here's the thing: Dwayne Brown is not a bad left tackle. The thing about 90% of the sacks that Russell Wilson incurred were because he held on to the ball the longest of any quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I wouldn't mind Dwayne Brown as if he would take a realistic contract for his 37-year-old body, but he wants a $10 million contract with $10 million guaranteed. That's just dumb at 37 years of age.
Well, he saw what that dude from Whitworth did. He saw how Russell Okung. We thought Russell Okung was 32, I think, and we were like, oh, he's too old. Right. Do you remember we got Russell Okung? We always do this. We always get the free agent that I want 5 years after I wanted him. Do you remember the guy Bird? He was a safety. He went from Buffalo to the Saints, and then he came and played a year with us. What was his first?
Bird or something like that?
Yeah. I wanted him, but then it was like this. Oh, you like him, Tony? It's like, yeah, I liked him 5 years ago. Russell Okung, I wanted him 5 years ago instead of Matt Khalil.
I wanted Gilmore before the Patriots signed him.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I don't know. I think, though, I do think I saw Daryl Zero Chill say this in the chat that there's always one more wave of free agency, and that is after the draft.
That's true.
When is that there's going to have to be some holes to fill out some things. I think for me, the real question marks are, and actually Scott Fitter has really talked glowingly about some of the question marks that I had about the team. All right. So these two areas, actually he's spoken very highly about the defense and the improvements to the defense. And he thinks that this line is going to be more formidable this year.
For sure.
Is this because of simply because of the addition of the guy with the lowercase name, which I don't understand? Is it Greek or something? Do Greek people not?
Matt Ioannidis.
Like, why does it not capitalize? That's my biggest question is, why has he got a lowercase last name?
Yeah, I didn't even notice that. Is that
it's always it's lowercase all the time, and it's like the way it's supposed to be. I wonder if it's
think it's a Greek thing.
I don't know. I mean, I got to figure it out.
It could be because of all the I's and the L's in the very beginning. Like if you don't,
right?
It could be that. Like I'm just assuming. So
I don't know, but he spoke real well about the secondary, right, and some things and there's some question marks. Is that Dante Jackson, his play has improved so much, in my opinion. Right, it's like he went from a boomer bust type player to a far more consistent player. But then the problem is that injury set in now. But you put a lot of stock on him. You put a lot of stock on J.C. Horn being healthy and C.J. Henderson. But they believe that this secondary is just as good as last year, or at least that's the way he's talking. He believes that I don't think he thinks the defense is going to be less potent this year.
So Tony, I have a question for you then. Do you think Dante played better last year because he improved his play, or do you think it's because the guys on the line played better?
I think it's him. I think he's been a lot more mature.
Sure.
I think that, is that he's been less emotional. I think for me, the biggest thing is Dante's put his head down and tackled in the run game. That's where I was like, this is like Dante has gone and made some big time open field tackles underneath that I thought were indicative of him. I don't know. I don't know if it was committing or, he's always been a ball hawk.
How old is Dante?
He's always been that. I think too that it's helpful to have J.C. Horn or Stephon Gilmore, somebody on the other side, because I think it's unfair to ask an undersized corner to be a number one. Like, I just think, hey, look, they can be very, very good. They can go up against speed guys, and there's times they can cover some bigger guys, but it's just unfair to ask him to go up against Julio. There's just a physical advantage all the time that your speed can't beat. So I think it's been helpful to him to have a more physical guy on the other side where you can match up better.
Yeah.
Well,
and by the way, like but that too, like now that we have this amount of money, I'm really hoping that Stephon Gilmore comes back. I mean, I know it might not happen, but dude, I would be darned if I don't like the idea of having that backfield of J.C. Horn, C.J. Henderson, Dante Jackson, and Stephon Gilmore. Like, dude, if teams are going to throw the football, well, let's be prepared to drop back in coverage and let our ball hawks go get the football and start creating takeaways like the Panthers were used to be known for, Like, I wouldn't mind that at all.
Here's the thing, Cody, man. You got to think we just paid Dante, okay? We picked up C.J. Henderson last year. We picked up J.C. Horn last year. You know me, dude. I've been pounding the table to get Stephon Gilmore back. But once they sign Dante, I don't see them re-signing Stephon. That's just too much money in that one room.
Not to mention that, but like they still have a glaring hole at defensive end. I mean, they do not. I know that everybody's expecting YGM to step up and pick up the pressure to start pressuring.
Hold your breath.
Yeah, I don't see that. Like, I mean, I understand the big jumps happen in year 3 typically for most defensive ends, but like, he's been injured just way too often during his rookie year and his sophomore year.
I'm actually more interested in Marquise Haynes playing that more consistent role because I feel like he's they're viewing him like a Mario Addison player. Is that a guy that finally is 28, 29 years old and is going to give you 2 or 3 good years of being a contributor. Maybe not dominant, but Mario Addison was a decent player for us.
He did good for Buffalo too.
Yeah, and the thing is, and I wonder too with Brian Burns a little bit, and maybe how the NFL has gotten so much younger, right? I mean, if you think about this, DJ Moore is 24 or something like that. Maybe we're expecting these guys to blossom faster than is realistic. And that it does happen for some players. Like there's some guys that come out and they're going to be dominant from day one, but that's got to be the anomaly. Some of these players might actually be decent contributors. So I wonder if Marquise, like if they think that he can fill that role without really maybe not getting 10 sacks like dang homeboy did, but be a contributor. They like that defensive front a little bit more this year.
And by the way, I think it's an apt comparison that we make to Mario Addison because Mario Addison was, I believe, undrafted. He had bounced around to, I believe the Panthers were his 3rd team that he went to before he really started to play well. And Tony, I even think that you kind of undersold Mario Addison a little bit. I would say from 2015 to 2017, 18, Mario Addison was our premier pass rusher. Like that guy was our primary sack getter for a while. And I remember Ron Rivera being hopeful that Marquise Haynes would kind of fill that Mario Addison role and step into that kind of Joker style defensive end. And I mean, really, I'm hoping that we are able to get that kind of improvement for him because I don't know, man. I like Ioannidis, but I really just I feel like losing Hassan Reddick is going to be a bigger problem down the road than we feel like it is right now. I feel like that could be an issue of having to make up for all that production, and we don't have a player to be able to fill that with. It's a bunch of guys that you're hoping are going to turn out. There's no guarantees for Frankie Louvu. There's no guarantees for Mario Addison or YGM. So
I mean, and you can make the argument Hassan was our best player last year on defense.
I said it earlier. I mean, like I said, that perfect 10 RAS score that Trayvon Walker had, I'm telling you, Matt Rule, all 3 inches, fully erect for that. I mean, don't be surprised if he takes him at 6. I'm just saying.
And I will be fair, to put my scouting cap on, I do believe that Trayvon Walker was even underutilized at Georgia. So he had only 6. He had only 6 sacks on the season last year. But I believe in the NFL, you can project him to be a much better player than that once you put him at that full-time edge instead of get him out wide a little bit more. Yeah, I think he could be a really good football player. Hey, real quick, does anyone think defensive end is actually off the table? I mean, I know Brad doesn't, but
it's not, bro.
If there is a Kayvon Thibodeau or if there is a Trayvon Walker, would the Panthers be willing to jump on that kind of defensive end in spite of a quarterback or an offensive line?
I think so.
I think they should.
It depends who's on the table. It depends who's there on the board. But I mean, anything's possible for sure.
I'm gonna be honest. I fully expect. Here's the deal. If they weren't happy with their offensive line, they would have already offered Dwayne Brown more money, right? If they weren't happy with their offensive line, they would have overpaid through the teeth for Armstead. They didn't overpay those guys. That tells me that they look at their offensive line problems as solved on this roster, right? So I fully expect. I mean, the big offseason thing that Fitterers came out and said was, we're going to invest in the trenches, right? They weren't willing to pay Hassan Reddick. They weren't willing to invest premium money in their edge rushing department, right? I know that they paid Frankie Louvu and YGM still on the roster, and they're probably sitting back thinking, okay, well, I hope that they can fill that role. But I think the defensive end is absolutely in play. It has to be.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, they don't want to show their hand too much. They didn't want. I think they're gonna wait after the draft for these other free agents. We might pick up a few more, on some good deals. But I think for now, we're just gonna have to wait till the draft and see where they're gonna go from here. So, yeah.
I think they'd be foolish to think their offensive line problems are solved though, because Boseman's only on a 1-year deal. And on top of that, you're really believing this core. I mean, really, it's just like a front line of people you think could get it done this year, but it's not a long-term stability that has been developed, right? I mean, you're believing that Brady Christensen is going to pan out and be something, but you haven't really fully seen it yet. I just think that would be living in the moment a little too much to think that it's solved. Now, I do think you're right, though, is that I don't think it's off the table that they could just say, you know what, this is a great defensive end player. We saw it last year with J.C. Horn. It's you know what, let's just get the blue chip guy instead of reaching on Pickett. Last year we wanted an offensive lineman so badly. It's just going to be so hard for me to swallow another draft gone by with a defensive player picked in the top 10. I mean, it's been 3 in a row now.
Yeah.
4, right? 3.
Well, one draft where it was nothing but defensive players, right? I mean, they didn't invest in their offense.
I think it went Burns, then it went Burns, Derek Brown, J.C. Horn.
Yep. But I mean,
was it DJ the year before?
It was DJ the year before, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, and that's the thing is if you look at what Matt Rule last year said during the draft is the biggest thing they use to evaluate talents are the RAS scores, right? That's what they're looking for. They're looking for aggressive, athletic players, and Trayvon Walker has a perfect 10. You're not going to see that very often. I mean,
6 sacks though, man. I don't know about that.
I mean, I'm just saying, Rule. All full 3 inches of Rule. is ready for
No,
that.
you're right. You're right. Kenny Pickett has a good RAS score too, right?
Yeah.
Not that high.
It's like 9.7.
I mean, it's not that high, but he does have. I mean, that's another thing. Like a lot of those guys that I follow on Twitter that post those RAS scores, they're also very high on Pickett as well. And they say that he also has a very high RAS score. Listen, I mean, the quarterback class is always going to be a gamble. I just, to Tony's point that he just made, I hate the fact that there's, we're always doing this thing with the quarterback and the offensive line. Like, we should have taken one or the other last year, so that way this year we know that we're taking the opposite of what we took last year, And it sucks to say because I'm a big-time J.C. Horn fan, and I'm a fan of what I think he's going to be able to do for the Panthers, but those are two positions that you just don't let go that long underserviced.
I wanted Slater so bad last year.
Same.
He was there for the taking.
I thought we were going to take him after.
Or even Parsons. Even Parsons was like there. I mean, we had some guys that would have like changed. It would have been a big deal. It would have been a big deal.
But they came out and said that last year that they evaluated Rashawn Slater as a guard, not a tackle.
I know. How crazy is that?
Cody, you're so good. You're on here twice.
Huh?
You're so good. You're on here twice.
Cody, I gotta give you credit, bro. Lately, the past couple of years, I've been watching you, man. You've been hitting on these, draft picks going number one, man.
I appreciate you, man. I try and put in a lot of work on my evaluations. I think there's going to be some surprises this year too.
You were begging us to go get Herbert, like begging.
Yeah, I really liked
Herbert.
Herbert.
Begging now to go get Malik Willis.
Yeah, and I was begging us to get Rashawn Slater too. When everybody was chanting Penei Sewell, I was like, "Hey, man, that guy from Northwestern, that's the best tackle in the class."
Look. So, Cody, you've heard my philosophy on the first 4 rounds in the drafts quite a few times, and that has been in the first four rounds of every draft, you should always draft 1 O lineman and 1 D lineman. Would you guys agree with that sentiment?
I would agree wholeheartedly.
Say it one more time. Every year you draft 1 O line, 1 D line.
Yeah, within the top 4 rounds of the draft.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, the trenches are the most important part of the football team. So
exactly. And let's face it, how many times are you going to have to dip into free agency to fill up your O line or your D line? You might have to sign one guy every year for each one, but that's really not bad in comparison to what we had to do like this past year or the year before or with Russell Okung. Like, it's ridiculous. Russell Okung was the highest paid O lineman in the 2020 season. So.
Yeah. I mean,
I think that was because of Bitcoin, though.
It is. Like, don't get me wrong. He was the highest paid O lineman because of Bitcoin. But bro,
and on top of that, man, this dude is super cool. He negotiated his own deal with. When he went from Denver to San Diego, he was his own agent.
Excuse me,
I don't
Cody,
think he did play last year.
I have an emergency. I got an emergency. Kuechly's back. I just got this notification from ESPN. You guys can't see it because of the glare, but it says
April Fool's.
Yeah, we don't trust you, Connor, after that last call.
you guys
you tried your best, bro. I appreciate the attempt, dude.
We
you
bought
did
that,
everything, and you went for it. You did.
You already showed your head last week when you saw who was it?
Baker and Gardner.
Baker and Gardner.
I didn't know if you guys got to me. I was asleep by then. What you guys' reaction initially? I'll go back and watch the stream in a bit.
Cody gave you mad credit for getting us on the hook for a minute until I think it was when Gardner came up. It was like, nope.
You said that they were all sitting at the table. They were
At Panera.
Hey, I gotta go for dinner. I may or may not be back on the podcast tonight again. I'm not sure. But yeah.
All right, Connor, man, it's
Connor,
awesome.
you're good.
Awesome meeting you, bro.
We're getting ready to getting ready to end the stream anyway. I got to be out of here by 9, so I'm probably gonna go ahead and shut it down. But yeah, I appreciate you being on here, man. And
yeah,
I had another guy waiting in the back. Sorry, man. I'm gonna get you on next time. I promise. Short show today. But I'm definitely want to get more people on here. I love meeting Panther Nation. You guys have been fantastic. No mock draft today, but there will be one next Friday. But Panther Nation, that's it, man. Hit that like, hit that subscribe if you enjoy the content. To everyone joining this show, I appreciate you all so much. And until next time, man, keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Keep pounding, guys.